As you know, here on the Fearless Investor YouTube channel, we're always trying to give you value. And today I'm going to give you a sneak peek into our exclusive Airbnb Kickstart Masterminds group. This is a paid private group that you're going to get a free look into today. So if you like this video, make sure to press that like button and also subscribe to our channel so you can get notified anytime we drop a new video. All right, so before we get started in this video, I just want to make sure you understand kind of the context of this group. So this is a paid group that the majority are part of my Airbnb Kickstart course, which if you haven't taken a look at that, you can do that just down below in the description. Some people, though, in this group are just in it because they want to get continued education. They want to be around high-level individuals, high-level Airbnb operators, and also be able to ask their questions to a community and be a part of something that's bigger than them so they can continue to grow and get a higher mindset as well. So there's gonna be three things that you see in this video today. Number one is going to be from my good friend Micah, who's going to talk about Airbnb and how he learned how to be able to scale this to over 400 units using timeshares, which just blew my mind. The next thing that you're going to learn is about a situation recently that myself and my girlfriend Gracie went through when we had an arbitrage unit and then it fell through, and we just wanted everyone to be able to learn from that situation and how what happened to us can be avoided by others. And then the third one is one of my students. They're talking about one of their situations, and we talk together as a group. We're basically always about 6 to 10 people in this group that are discussing and helping each other out. We call it the accelerator seat. So you might hear that term dropped in there. It's basically a hot seat where you get to jump on and you get to ask questions and say, hey, here's what I'm struggling with, or here's what my goals are, or here's where I want to be. And the group basically helps to be able to get to that standpoint. So let's jump into it right now. But before we do, if you're interested, if you're like, hey, this seems like a really cool group, what are the details on it? It's only $97 a month. However, we cherry pick and hand pick people who we want in the group. So one of the qualifications is you either have to be a purchased member of our Airbnb Kickstart course, or you need to at least have one Airbnb unit of which you are currently a super host on. So you have to be a super host, or you have to be in the actual course. And the reason for that is we want people that are either going to be, learning the same way of which I taught, or bringing in new value that already have experience, because this is a mastermind group. It's not just a class. It's not a place where you just go and show up and learn. You have to provide some value as well. So if that sounds interesting to you and you want to learn more about that, all you have to do is email me, and you can just basically start the interview process from there. info@fearlesskyle.com. Again, info@fearlesskyle.com. Just make sure in the subject you put Airbnb Kickstart Mastermind. And if you do that, then we can go ahead and set up a time to talk. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to this little mashup from our Airbnb Kickstart Mastermind group. I'm excited about this, guys. So Micah, before I talk too much, just kind of give a little intro about yourself. How long you been in the short-term rentals? What were you doing before short-term rentals? We would love to hear your story.
Okay. So I started in short-term rentals in 2016. December 2016, that's when we opened our first LLC. Me and my wife, we were pretty much, working the 9 to 5. We're like, look, we have to have something more than just going to work every day. So my wife, I'm like, look, we got to figure something out to produce some extra income. And I've been in real estate since I was 19. That's when I ended up buying my first house. So I was like, okay, let's look further into real estate. I'm familiar with it. And so she was like, okay, let's look into real estate. So she ended up going and finding out about Airbnb. So she comes back, she goes to, I think she went to her beautician or something. And she's like, hey, let's look into Airbnb. She said, her beautician said, you can make all this money. I'm like, okay. And I'm a numbers guy. So I started doing all the research, and I'm like, hold on. So if I have a $700 mortgage and I just rent it for 10 nights at $70 a night, I can make my entire mortgage in 10 days. That was the logic. Immediately it clicked. I'm like, okay. So I was like, okay, let's go find a property. I started off, we bought a condo. We buy this condo for $70,000 in Arlington, like directly across the street from the Cowboy Stadium, brand new Cowboy Stadium. We buy the condo. We're up and running. We're up and running for about a month, 2 months. We're chilling. We're tripling our income. We get a nasty letter from the HOA that said you got to shut down because it wasn't allowed. And I'm like, oh crap, man. So I had to pivot quick. I'm like, okay, we just bought this condo. How do I make money off of it? I ended up running into a guy named Al Williamson on Bigger Pockets, and he's like, "Oh, that's not a problem. You need to switch to corporate style renting." And I'm like, "Corporate style renting?" He goes, "You need to start renting to traveling nurses, things like that." So I started studying Furnished Finder, all the corporate agencies, and we started renting those, renting out to those, and it was making just as much money. And then I'm like, okay, I'm loving the cash flow here. How do I 10x? How do I get more? Me and my wife, we had some extra money. We were in Vegas. We went to Vegas. We stayed at our timeshare, and we're out in Vegas. And I'm like, I wonder if I could rent this timeshare on Airbnb. And she's like, I don't know, we'll try it. So I was like, okay, I get back home. I rented the timeshare. I sell my points off on the timeshare. I did about 10, 15 reservations. So I'm like, dang it, I ain't got no more points. How do I, how do I do this without points? So I started reading the timeshare fine print. And I read it and I was like, oh, I don't need points to rent this. All I need is to rent the portions that they don't have, that they have huge vacancies. They have these huge vacancy gaps. So I read the fine print. So I started going on there and I started grabbing all the vacancies from the timeshares and I just started listing them on Airbnb. In 11 months, we're up to like 60, 70 units. And in 11 months, we made $111,000. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, okay, we got to really 10x this. So I started listing timeshares left and right. I'm listing those. I'm making money off of it. And then I'm like, okay, I've maxed myself out on all the places we can list. So at that time, I'm like, okay, let's try this arbitrage thing. And during this whole time, I had my podcast, which is Live Let Thrive. And
so
that's
Mike, I don't mean to interrupt you, man, but
okay.
Can we just press the timeout button?
Okay.
Tell me again how these timeshares work.
Okay. So pretty much what you do is we were taking the time from the timeshares that they have huge vacancies. And after we take it, we just list it on Airbnb. All we did, the best part about this timeshare model is I pay $150 a month for the timeshare and I get access to over 500 properties. And I take those properties and I list them. And what I do is I can just take like, hey, Windsor, California right now, they're having a vacancy period where not too many people are coming. I just take that, list it on Airbnb, grab the pictures from the timeshare website, throw them over. And all I do is I have a VA down in down in Argentina, and all he does is push accept or decline. Accept if the time's available, decline if it's not. And that's all it is.
Okay. So because I've never owned a timeshare, like literally I'm stupid when it comes to timeshares. I've always heard they're scams, so I just stay away from them. I'm really uneducated about it. So let's just assume everyone is in first grade right now and has never even heard of a timeshare. Like, are these already furnished and that's why it's so easy to access? What do you mean you spend $150 and suddenly you have 500 properties? My mind is not wrapping around it.
Okay. So $150 is your maintenance fee, right? So the big scam in timeshares is the maintenance fee. They're like, you can only pay $150 and you only get a week or 2 weeks. Well, you get more time. It's just you don't sometimes get the time that you want. So what we did is you pay $150 a month. That's your maintenance fee. You then can get access to the time that they don't have rented. I swipe that time on a credit card, meaning I pay like $200 for 5 days, but I'll go and rent it for $600 to $700. I take that spread, and every time I swipe my credit card, it's counted as travel points. So I also get the travel points from sending that person on vacation.
Dude, you need to make a course on timeshares.
I already did.
You did? Okay. I'm going to go buy your course.
So yeah, that's pretty much how the timeshare play worked. And that's how we ramped up to like 400 plus units.
Wow. Okay. So sorry to interrupt you. I just had to press the pause button there and understand that. So everyone needs to go buy Micah's timeshare course too.
Can I ask one quick question about that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think I already answered my question, but there was no way that you could automate linking those calendars up because you sounded like you hired the VA to see if the time was available each time it got booked. That's the big step, right?
Yes, that was the big step. We tried that. We tried it with multiple different software agencies, and it just didn't work because you would have to build a scraper to scrape the data from the site. That was the number one thing I was thinking. I'm like, if I could just scrape these, this would be perfect. So yeah, we ended up hiring a VA, and he takes care of all of it for us.
Gracie and I just wanted to share a quick story here. So probably just in like 5 minutes or so, we just want to kind of explain what happened. And kind of a bummer of a situation, but we're just taking the most of it and learning from it, and figured we'd share this story with you guys and help you to be able to learn. So do you want to kind of start off where it started?
Yeah. So we had our first yes. Well, I had my first yes, and we were really excited about that.
For arbitrage.
For arbitrage, yes. And everything was going well. We expected to sign the lease on the 7th. So Kyle and I decided that it was a good idea to start buying furniture.
And we had already paid the down payment, the security deposit, and the property manager who was saying yes to us basically said, yes, we're going to sign on Monday or Tuesday when the owners get back in town. That's all we had been told at this point.
Right. So I went ahead and started the initial furniture purchasing process, had that ready to go in my cart, hit process payment, and we were good. Then we get a call. That's the insurance call came in, right?
Yeah.
Then we get a call. No, it was a text. I got a text from the property manager stating that the owner did not feel comfortable with the whole property insurance and that he was going to refund us the security deposit. I contacted Kyle. I told him, hold off, don't refund just yet. We have a solution. In the meantime, Kyle is getting his answer together with how we're going to overcome the insurance hurdle. Anyway, that gets squared away. We actually end up speaking to the landlord himself. He and his mom both own this property. So we got on the phone with them, explained that there were other options. I guess the biggest difficulty they were having is the price increase that they were going to be hit with. So I shared a resource of mine because when I got insurance on my property, my policy only went up $52. So I shared that resource. Kyle also referred them to a local broker. And
they, yeah, when getting on the phone with these owners, they were pretty much like, oh, okay, this changes everything. We're totally good to go.
In fact, he even said, after this property is finished, I'm going to refer you to another property where our lease is almost up. So I'm looking at Kyle like, oh my God, this is great. We just scored. Not only are we starting this property, but we have others lined up with the same people.
So recap, we've already ordered the furniture. We talked to the property manager. Property manager was ready to kill it. The owner was like, no, okay, great. If you can figure out the insurance part, then we're good to go. We referred them to the insurance people. And then the next day, Gracie goes, oh my gosh, stuff is arriving 5 days early to the house. We're already getting pictures of boxes of furniture showing up to the house. And we were so confident about the day before. We were like, well, no big deal. Let's just see if we can put it in the garage.
Yeah.
And the property manager was like, yeah, you can't put it in the garage because the owners don't want to do the deal. And so we called Amazon. Like we asked, like, what's the issue? And they said, yeah, it's just an insurance thing.
He said pricing and then
other complications. So basically, they've got stuff going on their end that they don't want to be transparent about. We have no idea what it is. At this point, Gracie and I are looking at each other like, these are not people we want to work with anyway.
Yeah.
If they're going to give us the runaround, if they're going to ask for our money, tell us that they're going to sign a lease and then back up on it basically the day before they're supposed to sign the lease. And then we talk to them again and they still back out again. That's just not really someone that we want to do business with. Yeah. So anyway, long story short, I'm like, get on the phone with Amazon and we'll just get all the furniture returned and canceled. Well, Amazon's like, no, everything's already been shipped out. So you guys, you're stuck with the furniture unless you want to return it yourselves.
The good news is I have 18 months, 0 interest.
Yes. So long story short, I got to send my assistants out. I got to send other people out to go pick up furniture and take it to like a storage location while we go and find a new location for this furniture, which is just a pain in the butt, right? And we got to pay more people to do it. But
I already have a house where some of it's going.
Yeah, exactly. So we're finding solutions. But I think I guess what I wanted to share as the learning lesson here was, for me at least, it was do not take a property manager at their word. Get on the phone, make sure that part of your pitch there is, I got to talk to the owner. I understand that it's good with you, but I got to make sure that the owner is completely understanding of this as well. Get me in touch with the owner. and then don't buy any furniture until paper has been signed. For us, when we gave a $2,400 security deposit, when we gave that money to us based on everything that had been said, it was as good of a deal as it was basically a done deal at that point. There was no question of if it was going to go through or not. And then 2 days later, he's like, well, never mind. So wait until you actually have something signed, I guess, before buying. So
yeah, I was raised in a household where my word was gold.
Yeah.
And I stood behind it, and I thought I was dealing with someone that also held that highly,
Yeah.
and that wasn't the case.
Yeah. So we learned the hard way. Anything else you learned from that?
No, all is good. We're
Yeah.
gonna go and hit some other deal, and it's gonna be even better.
Yeah, exactly. I told her too. I was like, I think that happened for a reason, because we're dealing with all this while we're in Hawaii. You know, we're literally going up to the Grand Canyon of Kauai. We have no service. We're trying to like get an answer of what's going on. And it's just taking us away from like where we were supposed to be and how we were supposed to be present. And I was just like, let's not complicate this thing. Like, let's simplify, and here's how we do it. So it led us to having a really good conversation about where the business is going next. So without further ado, let's jump into the accelerator seat. Mr. Salim, welcome aboard, brother.
Thank you. So yeah, like Kyle said, I want to start a management or co-hosting business. I learned a lot in the course, but you know, when you want to apply it, you know, when you want to start the business, you find these little things that maybe you haven't learned in the course, you know. And this is why, you know, I would like to like ask more questions, learn about more how to implement this kind of business. So I downloaded Airbnb B&B Investor. I think I learned about it from Kyle Collette.
Yep.
Because I saw one of his posts. He mentioned B&B Investor. So I went to that website. I purchased a membership, and like now I know how to contact people directly, and you know, like do my pitch and all these things. But I would like to do it two ways. I would like one way people to contact me directly through the website, and then the other way, I want to be able to, when I reach out to these owners or investors, I want to like show them I have a good portfolio, right? I want them to pick me to be the person to work with, you know, as opposed to anyone else. And I think I have more questions about what kind of people I need to hire to do like better photography, better interior design, have a nice portfolio, so that when they look at it, they're like, yeah, I want to deal with this guy.
Yeah. So the first thing that I can speak to is, it sounds to me like, if I'm hearing you correctly, your marketing, you're saying you want to reach out, but you want more so people reaching out to you. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, when I had sent you that site, homeslicestays.com, here's what I know about sites like that and marketing like that. It takes, you know, first of all, a really professional look. It takes usually a decent amount of either time or money to get your stuff to, you know, rank in the Google searches. And then the type of clientele that you're going to get is going to be of the, I would say the highest maintenance type of clientele, who is going to ask you and put you through the ringer when it comes to questions. I have had a total of 4 cold leads come to me through websites, and I stopped doing it because I didn't enjoy the type of people that I was getting. They were big time investors who, or there was a couple big time investors, and then there was a couple people who were just like, you know, they own a secondary home and they wanted to do their place on Airbnb. But what they expected, because I was one of 4 or 5 people that they were interviewing, they were comparing me and they're trying to do the pros and the cons of, here's Kyle's company versus here's this company versus here's this company. And then they want to get a negotiation. Well, this company, Salim, is going to do 15%. You're telling me 20%. Can you bend on that? And at the end of the day, what I realize is that however that client is in the beginning is typically going to be 3 to 5 times worse when you sign them on. And so for me, I like warm leads, and my phone can still ring with warm leads. And I don't have to do that whole like battle of them comparing me to other companies. I don't have to do the battle of like me, like just having to front this entire company. I'm getting a personal referral from someone who has a trusted relationship with another person that I've either helped or added some value to. And because of that, like it just feels like the sale is completely taken out of it. The other struggle is that because you don't have any properties yet, getting cold marketing going for like a website and having leads coming to you, you're going to have a website that shows listings. And when people find out that those aren't your listings, that they're just, general pictures that are taken off of an Airbnb site or something, you're going to lose a little bit of credibility, because you got to be transparent with people. So they're going to say, how many listings you have? Well, actually, I don't have any listings. Oh, okay. Well, I thought I was reaching out to a, professional property management company, so when there's no relationship, it becomes a much more about your ability to sell versus when you have that warm relationship. It's either the person that you know or the person that's sending them to you is able to use that relationship. You're able to use that relationship and say, hey, if this person trusts me, you can trust me too. So to me, man, like the best place for you to spend your time and money, in my opinion, it's not making a site. It's not creating cold leads that are coming to you. It's getting out there and shaking hands with real estate investors, real estate agents, property managers, going to meetup groups, showing up to real estate offices, offering to give a free presentation to the real estate agents. They do, all these real estate agents, they have meetings, usually once a week, once every other week, once a month, and they're looking for people to speak at these meetings and provide value. And that's how I started my co-hosting business, was essentially just talking at meetings for absolutely free and giving away value for free. And people just started coming my way or being referred to me. I get now a call usually once a week now from someone that I have never met before. And they're just like, hey, so-and-so told me about you. And recently I've been getting calls from people that are like, I heard about you from Jennifer. And I'm like, I don't even know who Jennifer is. So like, it's just like, for me, the word of mouth through pounding the pavement and shaking hands and meeting people has been way bigger on my return on time and investment than making a cold website to gather leads. So I'll stop talking there for a second. Backup questions, any comments from anyone? I know Kyle, you guys are doing a little bit of co-hosting as well. So happy to continue the conversation.
I mean, I'm just going to be preaching the same sort of thing that Kyle is over here. What I'm in the process of is just basically marketing to my own network. I mean, I did get my real estate license, so like I'm with Intero, and it's I just was at like a happy hour thing that I got invited to just by being an agent there. And so I'm going to start having meetings. I just got approval from like my manager in that office to do a presentation on short-term rentals and kind of what we're doing and just providing information on that. So that's like, I think some of the best ways that's going to be working for me, as well as, again, it's just a more personal relationship. So you're not like, I think, there's a lot of value to you actually being able to have such a more one-on-one conversation with some of these people in those rooms after the fact, and build much better rapport than some of these colder leads. So I'm under the same opinion as Kyle. The only other thing that I can think of with regards to that, and this is where it's hard, but it's because these people are actively doing it, is a lot of social media engagement. If you're constantly, very consistently posting, have a good investor social media page, and then you're adding on that, like, you have either mentorship or deals going on that you want to bring people in. I know people that are definitely successful in that space, as well as you still kind of slowly, it's a lot slower process, but you're slowly building up like this rapport with the people that are following you, or any other people that are following those hashtags or things like that on the Instagram or the TikTok realm of things. And you can feel like you're a little bit, you understand that person a lot more when they're just consistently putting out content. And I think Stanley probably agrees with that. And he probably gets direct messages at this point on Instagram from definitely people he's never really talked to, but those are maybe a little bit warmer because he's slowly created rapport by all the content that he's putting out on that end of things.
I think the important thing is none of this is going to happen overnight. And if you think it is, you're being lied to, because I mean, I just look at it, going back to when I first started, Salim, the first hurdle I had to get over was actually sharing what I was doing. I heard it from two of my mentors, John and Jason. John said, if you are doing something and no one in your network knows what you're doing, then you don't have a business. He said, everyone needs to know about what you're doing. And my response to that was, in my own head, I hadn't even told John that I was doing Airbnb, because I thought like, oh my gosh, I just have this amazing thing that is going to make me 5 times as much on a rental than anything else anyone else is doing in real estate. I got to hold this close and not tell anyone about it. That was my original mindset. And then my other mentor, Jason, said, if you share with people what you're doing, it'll feel like you're giving away the secret, but what's actually happening is it'll come back to you tenfold. And so I just trusted that mindset, that I needed to have an abundance mindset rather than a scarcity mindset. And by giving away free information in the beginning, it felt like I was giving away my time for free. It really did. I felt like I was going and talking at these meetings. I was asking for people to, do X, Y, and Z, and no one was doing it. Like, I would go to a meeting and I would give this presentation and I would tell people, hey, I'm looking for, 3 people with properties that are ready to do Airbnb today. And I would talk to a room of 50 people and I'd get no leads. And then I'd go and I'd do another meeting and I would say, if you know anyone, looking to get properties and get more, more profit on it, then, let me know. And I got no leads. And I did that again and again and again, but I just trusted the process of give information for absolutely free. Don't expect anything in return, and it'll eventually come back tenfold. And I'm telling you that what Tony Robbins says, 90% of, or what is it? It's 90% of what people see is what you're celebrated for, but it was practiced in silence for years and years and years. And so what felt like, like literally 90% of my business happened overnight, but it was this year-long effort of like telling people what I was doing and being, okay with being at 5 or 6 properties at the time. And then boom, overnight, it was like in 4 months, we had 18 new properties. But it really took like pounding the pavement and just providing value. Hey, you've got a property that is making you $200 a month. I've got a system that can make you $1,000 a month after expenses. Is that something you want to learn more about? Cool. You got friends who want to learn about that. Let's all get together. Let's have a lunch and let me show you what that looks like. Just having those conversations like every day it's the only way that you're going to build a business that you're really like excited about. I'll say it in that way.
When you talk to people about your system, do you talk about automation? Because talking about automation, personally scares me, because people will say, okay, if you can automate it, why can't I do it myself and automate it, right?
Yeah. And again, that's just where you got to trust the abundance mindset, because that right there, 100%. I mean, I'll give you a really good example. Gracie and I went and did a meeting with this guy, and we got hosed. I mean, the guy literally said, hey, I want you to manage our place. We went and did the meeting. We showed him, all the furniture that we would change out, replace. Beautiful house, great area. And, 2 days later, he was like, yeah, I'm just going to do it myself. Okay. You know what? I believe in karma. If you want to steal my time for free and you want to go and do something on your own, you know what? I've got an abundance mindset. You got a scarcity mindset. That's all. That's the only way I look at that. And that's not someone I want to do business with anyway. So if you're going to give away your time for free and you're going to tell someone the secret sauce, and their intent in the beginning is to have you do it, and then their intent at the end is to do it themselves, I don't think that's someone you want to do business with anyway. Because if they're going to do that now, they're going to do that in the future. So I would just challenge you to and encourage you to just really believe in the abundance mindset, that when someone asks you a question, hey, how do you do your pricing? I use a great tool called Beyond Pricing. It helps me automate it. It's a difficult, it's a difficult tool to use in the beginning, but I've figured it out, and I've got a great way of being able to price my stuff. Now, how do you deal with all the guest communication? Well, I've got a great team. I've hired a great team, and I also use Smart B&B. It helps me with guest communication, and it automates the process. Giving away that information, what you'll find is people will trust you more because you will give away more information, and then you will also gain a lot of credibility with them because they can see you as the expert. And when you have that abundance mindset, people are just attracted to other people with abundance mindsets. I don't believe that my business would be where it's at today. I don't believe Kyle and Cooper would have grown to where they're at already had they just hidden what they were doing. You ought to add Kyle on Facebook if you haven't already. He's doing a great job of sharing with everyone what he's doing. And because of that, he's already got a few investors that have been doing deals with him. That wouldn't have happened if he wasn't preaching to the world what he's doing and how he's doing it. If you ever want to reference back to just the notes of this, we also have this same episode on our podcast, and you can find that podcast show notes section on fearlesskyle.com/Airbnb Mash Up. And so when you go to Airbnb Mash Up, you'll see this mashup of all of these situations that we talked about today. So again, if you got a lot of value from this today and you're thinking, man, how can I get around more people like Micah? How can I, be in that accelerator seat? How can I learn from Kyle's mistakes or learn from Kyle's strategies and wins? This is exactly what we're doing on a weekly basis. What you saw is part of a weekly meeting that we have with all of our students and all of the people in our mastermind. And this is something that you can absolutely be a part of. All you have to do is email me, info@fearlesskyle.com. We'll put you through an interview process. Again, it's $97 a month. The way I kind of look at that is if it helps you to be able to get booked for one more night every single month out of the year, you're paying for it in itself. So that's pretty cool. But my hope would be that it just expands your mind so much and allows you to start, using different tools, using different processes, using different systems, and being around people with just a higher mindset so that, maybe right now you're stuck at 5 units and you're like, how do I get past that? Well, maybe this group can help you to be able to get from 5 to 50. And that's exactly what my hope would be. So anyway, with that being said, that's going to do it here. Once again, make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, do all the fun stuff that we really appreciate here. And we will see you next time.